This audio bite is about poetic techniques and quotes.
Many people get worried about poetry. They feel they must write about lots of things they don't really understand and use lots of difficult words to describe these things, like this.
In Search for My Tongue, there is an extended metaphor near the end. This makes the idea easier to understand, and the poem is more descriptive.
That might sound good, but it isn't. Eliot doesn't tell us what the metaphor is.
Well, here it's making a comparison between a language and a plant. That's why.
He also doesn't tell us why it's an extended metaphor.
Oh, it's an extended metaphor because the poet makes several references. There is a stump, shoots, buds and blossoms.
And most importantly, Eliot doesn't tell us what the idea in the poem is. You see, poetry is about ideas. It's about communicating a message, so you must always write about the ideas. Once you've got the main ideas, you can show how the poet uses language to express these ideas.
The language might be about the words in the poem, or the spelling, or how the lines are laid out. And then you can write about the special techniques they use in poetry. It's useful to know some, but you need Alex's golden rules first.
1. When you're writing about poetry, it's the ideas that count the most. 2. Only use the terms you understand, because it sounds much, much better. 3. Only use the terms if they are helpful. For example, if there are no metaphors in the poem, don't write a whole paragraph about metaphors.
So metaphors are easy. They describe one thing as something else, and similes describe something like or as something else. So if we say the people came in like swarms of flies, it's a simile. Both metaphors and similes tell us about the imagery, the pictures that the poems paint in our minds. So don't forget to write what the image is and why the poet chose it. In other words, what does this add to a poem?
Rhyming is used in some poems with phrases like white key and symphony. This might give the poem a clearer structure, and it often makes it easier to read out or remember. And alliteration is when the same sound at the beginning of words is repeated, like using the D in drizzle of one despondent dawn.
And the other thing you need to do is use short quotes. It shows you understand the poem. But many people make the mistake of quoting too much, copying out several lines at once. You should choose more carefully. Often one word is enough, like this.
In Vultures, the poet makes the scene focus on death, and so even the tree is dead.
Just one word is used here, dead, but it makes the point. If you listen to the audio clips on particular poems, you'll see how to use very short quotes.
So remember that you don't need to learn lots of complicated terms. What counts is understanding the main ideas. You probably already know about metaphors, similes, imagery, rhyming and alliteration. If you want to use any more terms, make sure they are the right terms. And when you give an example from a poem, make sure it's a short example.